appears and prepares her for what is about to happen.
I'll explain to you what we're going to do, okay?
Once Dahlia becomes aware of the fact that
Is
she
your
is
husband, Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man. He's been killed.
The detective's hand grips her shoulder as she collapses against his chest, screaming into the humid August air. No, please God, no. Dahlia DiPolito's knees buckle on the hot pavement outside the Boynton Beach condo complex. 2 officers catch her before she hits the ground. Her gym clothes stick to her trembling body. Mascara runs black rivers down her cheeks. "Ma'am, I'm sorry," Sergeant Paul Sheridan says. "Your husband Michael has been killed, shot twice in the head." She claws toward the yellow tape blocking the 3rd floor entrance. Glass glitters on the concrete below. Mike's Porsche sits with the driver's door hanging open. She reaches for it, like she can pull him back from death through sheer desperation. But 6 years later, in December 2015, this same woman sits in front of cameras wearing a lavender blouse and ankle monitor, insisting she's innocent. Her hair curls perfectly around her shoulders. Her voice stays calm and measured. "I didn't do this," she tells the interviewer. "I loved my husband." Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The footage rewinds to that August morning. Dahlia's sobs echo off the condo walls as officers guide her into a police cruiser. The leather seat burns through her leggings. She presses her palms against her face, gasping for air between wails. Through the window, she watches neighbors on balconies, phones out, recording her grief. What she doesn't know is that Mike isn't dead at all. The detectives leading her away have just finished staging the entire crime scene. The blood on the floor is theatrical prop mix. The shattered glass was carefully placed. Mike stood outside watching them work, very much alive, while his wife of 6 months finished her morning elliptical workout at the gym. Because 2 weeks earlier, Dahlia had walked up to an undercover police officer in a parking lot and handed over the $1,200 in cash. She wore sunglasses and a baseball cap pulled low. And she asked him to murder her husband. What made a newlywed willing to pay for her husband's death? What was so wrong with their marriage that divorce wasn't enough? 6 months before the staged murder, Mike DiPolito orders an escort through a website called eros.com. He's 41, successful, owns a condo in a luxury complex. Still married but ending it. The escort who arrives changes everything. Dahlia walks through his door with dark curled hair and a smile that makes him forget his problems. 26 years old, college graduate, real estate license, former Catholic schoolgirl who loves dancing and working out. They click instantly. Mike files for divorce. 3 months later, he and Dahlia stand in a courthouse getting married. No big wedding, no family drama, just them starting fresh. They watch Real Housewives together, dream about getting on reality TV. Mike tells friends that Dahlia loves the idea of getting paid to do nothing on camera. Their life looks perfect from the outside. Morning gym sessions, Starbucks runs, Mike attending his AA meetings religiously, 7 years clean from the alcohol and drugs that nearly destroyed him. Dahlia listening to worship music while she works, taking medication for depression and anxiety. Love notes left on the counter, cozy nights planning their future. Mike owns a Porsche. The condo has views. He's self-employed, money coming in steady. Dahlia has her real estate career taking off. They talk about having kids someday. But neighbors hear arguments through the walls late at night, doors slamming, raised voices that cut off suddenly. And within weeks of the wedding, police start pulling Mike over, for no reason. Mike sits in his Porsche on the side of the road for the third time this month. The officer searches his car while he stands in the Florida heat, hands visible, cooperating. "We got a tip you're dealing drugs," the cop says. Mike's jaw clenches. "I've been clean 7 years. Check my record. I'm on probation, but I've been following every rule." The officer finds nothing. Lets him go. Mike drives home confused and angry. It happens again the next week, and the week after. His house gets searched. Officers show up at the gym, at Starbucks. Everywhere he goes, police suddenly appear with anonymous tips that he's selling drugs. For 7 years after his conviction for stock fraud, Mike had 0 police contact. He did his time, got on probation, stayed clean. Then he marries Dahlia, and suddenly he's getting grabbed 8 times in 6 months. "I don't understand what's happening," he tells his friend Mohammed Shihara over the phone. "Someone's calling in these tips, but I'm not doing anything wrong." Mohammed is 32, owns convenience stores, does some acting on the side. He's known Dahlia longer than Mike has. They've been friends for years. When Dahlia starts calling Mohammed upset, claiming Mike is hurting her, Mohammed listens. He wants to help. "He's getting worse," Dahlia tells Mohammed one afternoon, her voice shaking. "I don't know what to do. I'm scared." Mohammed suggests she leave. Get somewhere safe. File a restraining order. "It's not that simple," Dahlia says. Then her voice drops lower. "I need him gone, Mohammed. Permanently." The words hang in the air. Mohammed's stomach turns cold. Because Dahlia isn't talking about divorce. Mohammed's hands shake as he dials the Boynton Beach Police Department. "I need to report something," he says. "My friend just asked me to help her kill her husband." The police tell him to come in immediately. Within hours, detectives wire Mohammed up. Tiny microphone clipped inside his shirt. Recording device hidden in his car. They give him instructions. Meet with Dahlia again. Let her talk. Don't push. Dahlia chooses a gas station on 7th Avenue. Mohammed pulls up and she gets in his passenger seat. The recorder captures everything. "So you're serious about this?" Mohammed asks carefully. "I need it done this week," Dahlia says. No hesitation, no tears, just business. She reaches into her purse and pulls out $1,200 in cash. "This is for the guy. Can you find someone?" Mohammed takes the money, his heart pounding. "I know someone who might do it. Let me make some calls." Dahlia nods. Mike goes to the gym every morning at 6:30, then Starbucks, then AA meetings. He's like clockwork. It should be easy. She describes the condo, the Porsche, his schedule down to the minute. She's been planning this. The police listen to the recording and move fast. They have an undercover cop named Whitey Jean who can pose as a hitman. They arrange another meeting for Dahlia in a parking lot 2 days later. Dahlia shows up wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap like she's in a spy movie. She walks straight to the car where Whitey Jean waits, gets in. No fear, no second thoughts. "So how you want this done?" Whitey Jean asks, playing his part. Dahlia doesn't even pause. "I don't care, just make it quick. You want it to look like a robbery? A break-in? Whatever's easiest for you." She checks her phone, distracted. "Just blow his brains out. And can I get a cheese sandwich with that?" The casual way she says it makes Whitey Jean's blood run cold, even though he's heard everything in his career. Dahlia leans forward in the hitman's car, urgency creeping into her voice now. "You have to make it happen this week. I can't wait any longer." Why the rush? Whitey Jean asks. Because I need access to everything now. The money, the accounts, the property. All of it. She pulls out her phone and shows him photos of the condo building. This is where we live. 3rd floor, corner unit. He parks right there. She points to Mike's usual spot. Whitey Jean nods slowly, pretending to study the layout. What's his routine again? Gym at 6:30 every morning. Like I said, he's obsessed with working out. Then Starbucks around 8. Then he goes to his AA meetings. He's so predictable, it's pathetic. The contempt in her voice is sharp and clear. And you'll be where when it goes down? At my gym. I go every morning around the same time. That way I have an alibi. I'll be on the elliptical with my headphones in when you do it. She says this like she's planning a grocery run, not her husband's murder. What about cameras in the building? There's some, but not everywhere. If you come in through the back stairwell, there's a blind spot. Mike showed me once. She laughs, a short, bitter sound. He thought he was being smart about security. Whitey Jean asks about the money again. Dahlia waves her hand. I told you, I'll get you the rest after. Mike has over $500,000 in assets. Once he's gone, it's all mine. You'll get paid, don't worry. She checks the time on her phone. I need to go. People will wonder where I am. She reaches for the door handle, then stops. One more thing. Make sure it looks violent, like a robbery gone bad. I want the police to think it was random. She steps out of the car, adjusts her sunglasses, and walks away without looking back. Her sandals slap against the parking lot pavement. She gets into her own car and drives off toward the gym. What Dahlia doesn't know is that police are already preparing their response. They're not planning to kill Mike. They're planning to catch her. The elliptical machine beeps as Dahlia reaches her 45-minute mark. She pulls out her earbuds, worship music still humming in the background. Sweat drips down her temple. She grabs her towel and water bottle, heading toward the locker room. Outside, the August sun already bakes the parking lot. She checks her phone. No messages from Mike yet. He should be at Starbucks by now. 3 blocks away, police officers break the lock on Mike's condo door. The metal snaps clean. They push inside, boots heavy on the tile floor. One officer scatters glass across the entryway. Another positions Mike's car in the lot below, driver's door hanging open. A third smears red substance across the doorframe. Mike DiPolito stands in the parking garage, watching through tinted windows as they stage his own murder scene. Dahlia's phone rings. Unknown number. She answers. Hello? Mrs. DiPolito, this is Boynton Beach Police. I need you to come home right away. There's been an incident involving your husband. Her stomach drops. What kind of incident? Is he okay? Ma'am, I can't discuss this over the phone. How soon can you get here? She's already running to her car. Keys shake in her hand. The engine roars to life. She doesn't remember the drive home. Just the fear pounding in her chest. Just the prayers tumbling from her lips. When she pulls into the complex, yellow tape blocks the entrance. Police cars everywhere. Officers standing guard. Her world tilts sideways. What Dahlia doesn't know is that every camera in that parking lot is recording her face right now. Your husband Michael has been killed. Sergeant Sheridan's voice cuts through the radio static. Shot twice in the head. I'm sorry. Dahlia's knees buckle. She collapses against the nearest officer, her scream tearing through the humid morning air. Her hands claw at his uniform. No, 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 please, God, no. Tears flood down her face. Her whole body shakes. She reaches toward the condo door, but they hold her back. "Let me see him. I need to see my husband." The officers guide her to a police car. The leather seat burns through her gym clothes. She presses her face into her palms, mascara running black across her fingers. Through the window, she can see neighbors on their balconies, phones out, recording, watching her fall apart. They drive her to the station. She cries the entire way, asking questions nobody answers. Who did this? Why would someone hurt him? Please let this be a mistake. Inside the interrogation room, fluorescent lights hum overhead. The metal chair scrapes as she sits. A female officer hands her tissues. She wipes her face, breath coming in gasps. The camera in the corner blinks red. "I don't want to be on video," Dahlia says, her voice cracking. "It's procedure, ma'am. Just routine." The detective enters, sits across from her, opens a folder. "I know this is difficult, but we need to ask you some questions. Can you think of anyone who might want to hurt your husband?" Dahlia's tears slow. She stares at the camera, dabs her eyes. Mike had enemies from before, from the stock fraud case. Some of those investors never let it go. Any specific names? "No, I don't know. Some guys left the country." The detective nods, takes notes, asks about Mike's routine. She describes his schedule: gym, Starbucks, AA meetings, everything regimented, everything normal. Then the detective stands. "I'll be right back. Just need to grab something." The door clicks shut. Dahlia sits alone. The camera keeps recording. For 30 seconds, she stares at the wall. No tears, face blank, breathing normal. Then she glances at the camera light, and the tears return instantly. She buries her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. But what she doesn't realize is that the police have been watching every second. Petite room, the mask slipped, and the camera caught everything. Sheridan drops a manila folder on the table between them. The slap of paper against metal makes Dahlia flinch. She's been in this room for 90 minutes. The camera hasn't stopped recording. Her eyes are red-rimmed, puffy. She's asked to see Mike's body 14 times. Each time Sheridan redirected. Asked another question. Let her talk. Now he sits across from her in silence, studying. The folder sits unopened. "What's that?" Her voice comes out hoarse. "Evidence? Evidence of what?" He doesn't answer. Just opens the folder. Slowly. Inside are photographs, printed transcripts. He slides the first photo across the table. Dahlia picks it up. Her hand doesn't shake. The image shows her standing next to a car in a parking lot. She's wearing sunglasses and a baseball hat pulled low. When was this taken? She sets it down. Careful. Controlled. August 3rd, 2 days ago. Sheridan slides another photo. This one shows her handing something to a man. "You met with someone? In a CVS parking lot. Can you tell me why?" "I don't remember this." "Look closer." She does. Her jaw tightens. "I meet a lot of people. Real estate clients. Friends. I can't remember every... That's Mohammed Shihara." Sheridan taps the man in the photo. "You've known him for years. Convenience store owner. Actor. Friend of yours. Okay. So I met Mohammed. What does this have to do with Mike?" "Everything." He pulls out a small recording device, sets it in the center of the table. "Because Mohammed came to us 5 days ago, said you approached him with a problem, a husband problem, and he recorded every conversation." The color drains from Dahlia's face. She stares at the recorder like it's a bomb. "Want to hear it?" Sheridan doesn't wait for an answer. Presses play. Static crackles through the speaker. Then Dahlia's voice. Clear, unmistakable. I can't do this anymore, Mo. He's getting worse. Mohammed's voice responds. Have you thought about leaving? I can't just leave. You don't understand. I need him gone. Gone how? A pause. Permanently. The recording continues. Dahlia's voice grows more urgent, more specific. She talks about Mike's routine, his schedule, the best time to catch him alone. She mentions money. 500,000 in assets, the condo, the cars, everything she could access if he wasn't around. Dahlia's hands grip the edge of the table, her knuckles white. There's more. Sheridan stops the playback, slides another photo. This one shows her with a different man. Older, harder. This is from August 4th, yesterday. You met with this person in a parking lot off Federal Highway. Gave him $1,200 cash. Can you tell me who he is? I want a lawyer. That's your right. But first let me show you something else. He produces another recording, another device. This man you gave money to. He's not a hitman. He's an undercover police officer. And he recorded everything too. The second playback starts. Dahlia's voice fills the small room again. This time she's giving instructions, directions to the condo, description of Mike's car, his height, his build, how to recognize him. Make it quick, her voice says through the static. 2 shots, head shots. I don't want him to suffer. The man asks how she wants it done. I don't care. Just blow his brains out. A pause. Then impossibly. And can I get a cheese sandwich with that? She laughed when she said it. The recording captured the laugh, light, easy, like she was ordering lunch instead of murder. Dahlia's breathing changes, shallow, fast. She looks at the door, the camera, back to Sheridan. You need to do this week, her recorded voice continues. Before the 15th. That's when he has surgery scheduled, and I need him gone before then. Can you make it happen? Sure. I can make it happen. Good. Thank you. This is such a relief. The recording clicks off. Silence swallows the room. Dahlia's chest rises and falls, rises and falls. She opens her mouth. Closes it. Opens it again. That's not... You're taking it out of context. I was scared. Mike was abusing me. I was trying to... Stop. Sheridan holds up a hand. We know everything. Mohammed told us about your claims, about the alleged abuse. We investigated, talked to neighbors, friends, your doctor. Nobody ever saw signs of abuse. No hospital visits. No police reports. Nothing. He was careful. Or you were lying. She lunges forward. You don't know what happened in that house. What he did to me. The things he... The anonymous tips. Sheridan cuts through her words. Someone kept calling police about Mike, claiming he was dealing drugs. We pulled the records, traced the calls. Want to guess who made them? Dahlia goes very still. You did. Every single tip came from your phone. Different numbers, but same device. We have the phone records. You called police 8 times in 6 months. Tried to get your own husband arrested. Violated. Sent back to prison. He leans forward. And when that didn't work, you decided to kill him. No. Yes. He deserved it. You don't understand what he... Mike is alive. The words land like a physical blow. Dahlia's head snaps up. Her mouth falls open. What? Your husband is alive. The murder scene was staged. The blood was fake. The call you got this morning was fake. All of it. Mike is in this building right now, completely unharmed. She stares at him, blinks once, twice, her brain trying to process, to rewind, to understand. He's alive? Yes. Oh my God. Tears spring to her eyes, real ones this time, different from before. Oh, thank God. He's alive. Where is he? Can I see him? He doesn't want to see you. What? No, you don't understand. I need to talk to him. I can explain everything. This is all a misunderstanding. If I could just... You're under arrest. Sheridan stands. For solicitation of first-degree murder. You have the right to remain silent. Wait, please. You have to listen to me. I can fix this. Let me talk to Mike and I'll fix everything. Please. She reaches across the table, grabs his sleeve. Please. I'm begging you. An officer enters with handcuffs. Dahlia pulls away, presses herself against the wall, shaking her head. The tears stream down her face, but they're not for Mike anymore. They're for herself, for the life disappearing in front of her, for the reality she can't manipulate or control or cry her way out of. The cuffs click around her wrists. I didn't mean it, she whispers. I wasn't really going to do it. It was just talk. Just stupid talk. But the recordings don't lie. The photos don't lie. The cash transaction doesn't lie. And the performance in this room, the crying and begging and collapsing, none of it matters anymore. The cameras already captured the truth. The moment when she thought nobody was watching, and her real face showed through. They walk her down the hallway, past the same cops who glanced at her before, past the woman in handcuffs who's being released now, out into the Florida heat toward a police car that isn't taking her home. Mike watches from a window upstairs, the blinds cracked just enough to see. His wife in the parking lot below, her hair catching sunlight. Her body bent forward as they guide her into the back seat. She looks small from this angle. Fragile. He knows it's a lie, knows what she's capable of. The recordings proved it. But part of him still can't believe it. 6 months ago, she was his wife, his partner, the woman he thought he'd spend his life with. Now she's a stranger, a person who looked at him every morning and imagined him dead. The police car pulls away. Dahlia's face appears in the rear window for just a moment, looking back at the station, at the building where her husband still breathes, still exists, still survived her. Then she's gone, and Mike is left standing in an empty office with the ghosts of what they could have been. The courtroom fills with whispers when Dahlia walks through the door. She's wearing a cream-colored blouse and dark slacks, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. Her lawyer follows close behind, briefcase in hand. They spent 3 months preparing for this moment, building a defense, crafting a story about abuse and fear and desperation. The prosecution spent 3 months building something else, a timeline, evidence, witness testimony. They don't need to craft anything. They just need to press play. Judge Ramsey takes the bench. The bailiff calls the room to order. Dahlia sits between her lawyers, hands folded in her lap. She doesn't look at the gallery where reporters sit with notebooks, doesn't look at the jury box, doesn't look at the prosecution table. She definitely doesn't look behind her, where Mike sits in the 3rd row, clean-shaved, sober, alive. The People versus Dahlia DiPolito, the judge announces. We're here for opening statements in the matter of solicitation of first-degree murder. The prosecutor stands. Middle-aged woman with sharp eyes and a stack of evidence folders. She approaches the jury. 12 faces watching her, waiting. This case is about betrayal, she begins, about a woman who married a man, moved into his home. shared his bed, and then tried to have him killed. She pauses. And it's all on tape. The defense objects. The judge overrules. The prosecutor continues. Over the next 2 weeks, the courtroom becomes a theater. The recordings play on speakers. Dahlia's voice fills the space. Casual. Planning. Laughing about cheese sandwiches. The jury listens. Some take notes. Some just stare at the defendant, at the small woman who doesn't look capable of murder. Until they see the interrogation footage. The prosecution plays it on a screen. Everyone watches Dahlia collapse in grief, watches her cry, beg, scream. Then the timestamp shows the moment Sheridan leaves the room. The moment she thinks the camera is off. The moment her face goes blank, dry-eyed, checking her reflection, adjusting her hair. The jury shifts in their seats. Mohammed testifies, describes how Dahlia approached him, how she cried about abuse that he never saw evidence of, how she asked him to find someone to kill Mike. He wears a suit, speaks clearly, looks at Dahlia only once. She looks away first. The undercover officer testifies, plays his recording, the entire parking lot conversation. Blow his brains out. The jury hears it direct from the source. Some glance at Dahlia. She stares at the table. Mike takes the stand on day 8. The courtroom goes quiet. He walks past Dahlia without looking at her, places his hand on the Bible, swears to tell the truth. The prosecutor asks him about their relationship, how they met. He's honest, doesn't hide the escort website, doesn't hide his past convictions, explains how he was on probation, trying to rebuild, thought he'd found someone who understood. Did you ever abuse your wife? The prosecutor asks. No. Did you ever threaten her? No. Did you know she was planning to have you killed? Not until the police told me. His voice cracks. I thought we were happy. The defense cross-examines, brings up his criminal history, his addiction, his scams, tries to paint him as dangerous, unpredictable. Mike answers every question, admits his past, doesn't make excuses. But I never hurt her, he says, never even raised my voice. I loved her. Loved. Past tense. Dahlia's defense calls character witnesses, her priest, former teachers. People who say she was kind, gentle, devout. The prosecution shows the recordings again. Contrasts the descriptions with the evidence. Who do you believe? The people who knew her in church, or her own voice caught on tape? Closing arguments stretch across 2 days. The defense argues entrapment, claims police created the crime, led Dahlia into it. The prosecution argues premeditation, points to the anonymous tips, the timeline, the cash payment, the specific instructions about headshots and timing. She didn't just want him dead, the prosecutor tells the jury. She wanted to control when, how, where. She wanted to plan her alibi, be at the gym when it happened, come home to find him already gone, collect the insurance, move on with her life. The defense argues mental health, depression, anxiety, medication that clouded judgment. The prosecution shows the interrogation footage again, the calculated performance, the moment the mask slipped. Does that look like someone whose judgment is clouded? The prosecutor points at the screen, at Dahlia checking her reflection while pretending to grieve. Or does that look like someone who knows exactly what she's doing? The jury deliberates for 6 hours. 6 hours of Mike pacing the hallway outside. 6 hours of Dahlia sitting stone-faced in the holding room. 6 hours of the world waiting to see if tears and claims of abuse can override recordings and evidence. The verdict comes back unanimous. Guilty. Solicitation of first-degree murder. Dahlia doesn't react, doesn't cry, just stares straight ahead as the judge thanks the jury. Sets a sentencing date, reminds her of her rights. Her lawyer touches her shoulder. She doesn't respond. Sentencing happens 4 weeks later. The judge reviews the evidence, the recordings, the testimony, the complete lack of remorse. This was a calculated attempt to end another human's life, Judge Ramsey says. Not in a moment of passion or fear, but through careful planning and manipulation. Dahlia receives 16 years, no parole eligibility for 12. They'll transport her to Lowell Correctional Institution, a women's facility 3 hours north of Boynton Beach, far from the condo, the gym, the Starbucks, the life she tried to secure through murder. Mike doesn't attend sentencing. He's already sold the condo, moved to a different city, started over again. Third time rebuilding. Third time learning who to trust. Dahlia walks out of the courtroom in shackles. Cameras flash. Reporters shout questions. She doesn't answer, just keeps her head down. Follows the officers toward the transport van, toward the next 16 years. The girl who wanted to be on reality TV, who watched Real Housewives and Cheaters and dreamed of being famous, who told Mike they could get paid to do nothing if they just got on the right show. She got her wish. The case went viral. Her face plastered across news websites. Her voice played millions of times. The interrogation footage analyzed frame by frame. She became famous, just not the way she imagined. Sometimes the most dangerous person isn't the stranger in the parking garage, isn't the unknown threat lurking outside. Sometimes it's the person sleeping next to you, the one who knows your schedule, your habits, your vulnerabilities, the one who smiles at breakfast and plots your death by lunch. Dahlia looked harmless, small, spiritual, a Catholic schoolgirl who listened to worship music and talked about faith. On the surface, she seemed like someone who needed protection, someone soft, gentle, incapable of violence. The recordings told a different story. The cash told a different story. The staged grief told a different story. Because the deadliest weapons aren't always guns or knives. Sometimes they're tears, manipulation, the ability to make people see what you want them to see while hiding what you really are. Mike trusted her, loved her, married her, let her into every corner of his life, gave her access to his finances, his home, his heart, and she weaponized all of it, used his past against him, called police repeatedly, tried to send him back to prison, and when that failed, she tried to erase him completely. The lesson isn't just about Dahlia, it's about the masks people wear, the performances they give, the way someone can look you in the eyes and lie without flinching, the way grief can be rehearsed, practiced, perfected for cameras. Watch for the quiet red flags, the anonymous tips, the manufactured crises, the isolation, the control disguised as love. Because abuse doesn't always look like bruises. Sometimes it looks like concern, like worry, like someone playing the victim while orchestrating harm. Trust evidence, trust patterns, trust what people do when they think nobody's watching. Because Dahlia's downfall wasn't the murder plot. It was the moment she thought the camera was off, the moment she stopped performing, the moment her real face showed through. Somewhere in Florida, Mike is rebuilding again, learning to trust again, carrying the weight of betrayal, but refusing to let it destroy him. Somewhere else, Dahlia counts days in a cell, 16 years to think about cheese sandwiches and staged tears, and the husband who survived her. The most dangerous place isn't always the dark alley. Sometimes it's the room where someone swears they love you while plotting your end. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you true stories that reveal the depths of human behavior, the power of justice, and the resilience of survivors. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever encountered someone whose mask slipped? What warning signs do you wish you'd recognized sooner? Your story might help someone else see the truth before it's too late. Let's build a community that supports awareness and inspires vigilance. More stories coming soon that will challenge everything you think you know about trust, betrayal, and survival. Don't miss them.